Welcome to the Manifestation Method. I'm your host, Ayelet Polonsky, therapist, coach, and Jewish neo-shaman. Here we blend the wisdom of psychology, spirituality, and Kabbalah to empower you with tools for living your most authentic life, filled with love, abundance, and healing. Through somatic, narrative, and hypnotherapy, I've developed the Manifestation Method to guide your soul's transformation and the realization of your true self. Let's rise together. To dive deeper into manifesting your most authentic life, visit ayeletpolonsky.com. Welcome back to the Manifestation Method. This is your guide to unlocking the unseen forces that shape your reality. I'm Ayelet Polonsky, and today we're diving into two powerful Kabbalistic principles that will shift the way you manifest abundance. Now, many spiritual traditions teach that desire itself is the root of suffering. That to attain enlightenment, we must relinquish desire, that we must detach from material wants and seek nothing but total self-nullification. But Kabbalah teaches the complete opposite. Kabbalah teaches us that desire is the very engine of creation. It teaches that the bigger our desires, the bigger our opportunity to bring divine energy into the world. And the second key is about mastering the delicate dance between effort and surrender. It's about knowing when to take massive action and when to step back and trust in divine flow and divine timing. This is not about simply wanting more or working harder. It's rather about aligning yourself with universal laws that govern receiving. It is about allowing abundance to move through you as a force for good. So, if you're ready to shift your mindset around abundance, if you're ready to stop shrinking your desires, and step into your power as a receiver of divine flow and abundance, then this episode is for you. Let's get into it. So let's start talking about desire a little bit. Now, I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine you are an artist standing in front of a blank canvas, and that canvas represents your life. That canvas represents your manifestations, your reality, your potential. On this canvas, it shows what is possible for you and the level of abundance. Now, the size of that canvas is determined by the size of your desires. I'll say that again. The size of your canvas is determined by the size of your desires. So if you keep your desires small, if you think to yourself, I just want enough to get by, I don't need much, I shouldn't ask for too much, then you're painting on a tiny canvas with limited space, limited color, limited expression. But what if you let yourself want more? What if you expanded your vision so your canvas stretched across the entire horizon, so vast that the divine itself had space to pour abundance into every corner of your canvas? Because here's the thing, the Creator fills the space that we create. The Creator fills the space that we create with our desires. So if your desires are small, then the amount of divine energy that can flow into your life will also be small. But if you allow yourself to desire greatly, to create a vast container for receiving, then the universe has so much more space to pour into you. And I just want to reiterate something that's important. This is not about greed. It's not about wanting just for the sake of wanting. It's about becoming a vessel for more light. It's about becoming a vessel for more impact, for more contribution, for more service, for more creation. It's about mirroring the creator and acknowledging that we are a microcosm of this massive creative force called Source, called God, called the Creator. And if, according to Kabbalah, I am made in the image of the Creator, that means within me, I have a God particle that is also a manifester, that has the capacity, the potential to co-create. And we also must be careful not to be selfish and in scarcity around your desire. If you think to yourself, I want millions of dollars so that I can go on more lavish vacations and buy the most expensive cars, well, according to Kabbalah, you are constricting your vessel. You might end up getting what you want, but the end result might be that you might lose it, or you'll get it and it just won't make you happy. It's not going to be fulfilling. If you want a win-win outcome, you must expand your vessel to include others, to include service, to include giving. This way you expand the amount of light that enters into your vessel, which ultimately will allow you to get what you want and receive the joy from it as well. Now, this doesn't mean you can't have all the nice things and go on luxurious vacations and have the nice cars. You can have it all. But having it all means expanding your desire to be so big that it fits caring for others into that equation as well. I'll give a short story. I once worked with a client in Israel, and her family was one of the wealthiest families in Jerusalem, if not in all of Israel. And I'm talking like generational wealth. Like just one of her homes alone in Israel was worth $18 million. And she and her husband owned properties worldwide. She had full-time chefs, an in-house electrician, a staff of housekeepers and nannies. Literally every material need she had was effortlessly met. And now some people might hear that and think that is excessive and unnecessary. But here's what really struck me. One day I was at her home and I overheard her on a call with a particular charity, and they were asking for a donation. And without hesitating, I heard her say, I'd like to donate $1 million and please make my donation anonymous. $1 million, just like that, and anonymous. Later, when she invited me to lead a manifestation event in her home, she looked around her massive, breathtaking space and said something to me that I'll never forget. She said, "What good is it for me to have a home like this if I can't use it to spread light?" That, my friends, is what it means to desire in alignment with the Creator. She was not afraid of wealth. She didn't shrink herself or tell herself that she should have less, but she also didn't hoard it. She didn't clutch onto it from fear. She was expansive with her desire. She was expansive with her abundance. She saw her abundance as a means to do more, to give more, to uplift more, to touch people's lives, and to expand her light. So I invite you to take a moment right now and to ask yourself, what do I desire? And how does my desire allow me to bring more light into the world? Because when your desires are big enough to include others, the universe will rise to meet you. And the second Kabbalistic principle that we're going to talk about today is about effort versus surrender. It's about mastering the manifestation sweet spot between those polarities of effort and surrender. Okay, because this is where so many people get stuck. I often hear people say, God will take care of it. God will take care of it. And while divine support is always present, that's true, that doesn't mean that we get to sit back and do nothing. So I often like to use the metaphor. Imagine a farmer who wants a harvest. Does he just sit back and say, if God wants me to eat, the crops will grow? No, of course not. He plows the land, he plants the seeds, he waters the soil, he does everything in his power to ensure that the harvest happens. But here's the key. He cannot force the plants to grow. There is a divine moment when his effort ends and surrender begins. So, another example. Years ago, I worked in sales in New York City. And if you've ever worked in sales, especially in New York City, you know it's an intense game. But the most powerful moment in the entire sales process is right after you tell your client the price. So let's say I'm on the phone with a potential client and we've gone through all the details of what I have to offer. They're interested, they're engaged. Then they ask, so how much does it cost? Right? And let's say I say whatever number, let's say $5,000. Okay. I'll say $5,000 and then I go silent. Because anything I say after that moment, that's me stepping into God's territory. That's me trying to control an outcome that isn't mine to control. So if I'm on a call with a potential client and I tell them a price, and then my mind starts going into, okay, I need this client to say yes because my kid's school tuition depends on this client saying yes, and my electricity bills depend on this client, and my summer vacation depends on this client, or whatever, right? Then what I'm doing is I'm sitting in God's seat and trying to control the outcome. I'm not surrendered. I'm not giving it up to the plan of the Creator. It is critical that after I've done my part, after I've gone over everything I could possibly go over with that client, that the last piece is the piece I completely and totally hand over to the Creator. It's in this moment where I bow my head and say, I don't need this client. I'm not attached to this client. I am totally fine with what I have as I am, and I am not in control. I am surrendered to divine outcomes. The problem is most people are not doing this. Most people are taking action and then they panic, right? They start over-explaining, overcompensating, grasping for control, putting their all into a project and then freaking out and wondering, is it going to be successful or not? But real manifestation happens when you put in all the effort that you can. And then at the final moment, before the outcome, you let go. That is when trust, the frequency of trust gets activated. And that's when you get to say, I have done everything in my power, and now I allow the Creator to do the rest. Such a powerful tool that works like magic, because that is where you start to open a space for Source, for the Creator to come in and shower you with His magic, show you what He's capable of, right? We just got to get out of the way, especially when it comes to that moment right before the outcome. So a mantra that I'd love to leave you with that I often use is, I expand my desires to expand the light. I take bold action and surrender to the outcome. I trust that the divine meets me at the edge of my effort. Write that one down, put it on your wall, put it on your mirror, on your fridge, wherever. Read it 100 times a day. And before we end, I'd love to leave you with a little blessing. May you remember that your desires are holy, that your expansion is divine, and that your abundance is meant to flow freely through you, not just for your own comfort, but to uplift the world. May you take inspired action towards your manifestations. And when the time comes, may you release control with unwavering trust, knowing that what is meant for you cannot miss you. May your heart stay open. May your trust stay strong. And may your light expand beyond what you ever thought possible. You are beyond worthy of receiving. You are meant to overflow, and abundance is your birthright. Thank you all for listening. If today's episode resonated with you, please share the love, pay it forward, screenshot this episode, share it on social media, tag me at the Manifestation Mindset. And I love you so, 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 so much. See you next time. Here's to your rising. Thank you for joining me on the Manifestation Method. I hope today's episode has inspired you on your journey to authenticity and abundance. Remember, your transformation begins with your mindset. If you're ready to take the next step, visit ayeletpolonsky.com for more resources and guidance. Until next time, here's to your rising.